Welcome to Shujin Academy VGM Club. I'm Professor Tom, your faculty sponsor. If you're a fan of video game music, you probably know about Overclocked Remix. But just in case you don't, Overclocked Remix is a fan-driven website devoted to arrangements of video game music. It's been around since 1999, back when MP3s were causing an explosion of digital music distribution. Unlike a lot of websites from the late 90s, Overclocked Remix is still active at ocremix.org, and you can visit today and look back at 27 years of history and contributions from tons of musicians. Overclocked Remix started as just some one-off songs contributed by a handful of people on the internet, but it snowballed into a community for game music arrangement, and in September 2003, they released an album of remixes from Super Metroid called Relics of the Chozo. More albums began to follow, some based on a specific game, and some based on a specific franchise, and some based on some other kind of theme. In September 2007, OC Remix released an album of Final Fantasy VII remixes, and over the next few years, more albums were released covering various other Final Fantasy games. As you may have guessed, the music of the Final Fantasy franchise is quite popular with the OC Remix community, and it's also quite popular with me, and so this episode is the first of a two-part series where we're going to go through multiple OC Remix albums devoted to Final Fantasy music and play some tracks. These albums all have a very diverse set of musical styles, and my goal is to show them off, so unlike my normal episodes, the moods in these music blocks may be a little swingier than normal. If you like these, I'd encourage you to go visit ocremix.org and look through their whole library of song remixes and albums. There's certainly something for a game or a sound you like, and I'll be linking every one of today's featured albums in the show notes. While there isn't an OC Remix album for every Final Fantasy game, there are enough that are specifically themed around individual games that I'm going to spend 2 episodes covering them. I did some mental chewing of ideas about how best to showcase things, and I decided that we'd go through them in order by game. That means this episode is going to cover the OC Remix albums devoted to Final Fantasies 2, 4, 5, and 6, and the next episode will cover the OC Remix albums for Final Fantasies 7, 8, and 9, plus a few tracks from a compilation album that covers multiple games. There are a ton of different contributors to all these songs, and some of these albums are more than 10 years old, which means that a lot of people involved have gone on to professional work in the gaming industry, or the music industry, or both, and it's cool to see the way artists have been able to turn a passion for game music into a career. In addition to the links for individually featured albums, I've also added links in the show notes to the various websites and socialist media pages for all of the artists who are featured today, and if they've gone on to do something interesting or noteworthy, I'll try to mention it. Also, I probably don't have to say it, but every song featured today was originally composed by Nobuo Uematsu. Our first featured album is Final Fantasy II Rebellion. It was released in June 2015, and it includes 21 tracks, and while Final Fantasy II is my least favorite game in the series, it does have a fantastic soundtrack that's always worth hearing. We started off the show with a song from this album named Prelumatsude, which was arranged by Jeff Ball. It's a really cool, down-tempo electronica exploration of the classic Final Fantasy prelude, and Jeff Ball has built an entire career working as a composer and violinist on a whole ton of different things, including lots of video games, films, and several collaborations with animator Rebecca Sugar of Steven Universe fame. The actual first music block includes only 2 songs. Most of the other blocks have more tracks, but this one's a little abbreviated because the Final Fantasy II Rebellion album gets the opening and closing tracks for this episode. The first song we'll hear is Grind My Crank, an arrangement of Tower of the Magi from Expert Novice, the Namde remix of streamer and voice actor Joe Zija. It's a fun, dark carnival ride kind of song, which slows down the original track and replaces its harpsichords with pipe organs and keyboards. This track also has some sections that get whimsical, and I always enjoy that side of Final Fantasy. The other song we'll hear in the block is called Rebellion, and it's an arrangement of both Dead Music, which is Final Fantasy II's Game Over song, and The Rebel Army, which is the theme for the game's heroes. It takes the original 2 songs and adds some grandiose energy to them, giving some epic weight to the quest to save the world. The remixers here are Brandon Strader, Chernabogue, and Detective Tuesday. Strader has done a lot of songs for OC Remix, and he also works as a freelance audio engineer and musician. If you're an exceptionally sharp-eared listener, you might even remember him from the spooky Castlevania episodes I did around Halloween time of 2023. Chernabogue and Detective Tuesday are also both musicians with internet presences and some fun cover songs. Detective Tuesday has even done some professional game industry work under his real name of Anton Karaza. Let's hear some songs. Those songs were both remixes from Final Fantasy II, and they were Grind My Crank, a remix of Tower of the Magi from Expert Novice, and Rebellion, a remix of both Dead Music and The Rebel Army from Brandon Strader, Chernabogue, and Detective Tuesday. While the OC Remix Gang hasn't put together a Final Fantasy III remix album quite yet, there is an album for Final Fantasy IV. It's called Echoes of Betrayal, Light of Redemption, and it was released in July 2009. I really like this collection of songs because it's from Final Fantasy IV, which was the first game in the series that I finished, and the game that made me fall in love with the franchise. The game's title is also evocative of the game's plot, where hero Cecil is betrayed by his country and his closest friend as he seeks redemption for his misdeeds. Our block starts off with Fighting for Tomorrow from the team of Ocean's Andrew and Nutritious. Ocean's Andrew is credited here as OA, and he was the director for the album, and both men have done quite a bit of work in the OC Remix community. This song is a reworking of the theme for Fabul, which is a kingdom full of martial artists, and it's a power rock song that's got a men's choir, credited here as the Fabul Men's Choir, singing in Latin about how they're brave and strong. Moving from a rock song to a techno song, the second track in the block is Golbez and Goblins, which is an EDM reworking of the theme for Golbez, the game's primary villain. This song has a lot of thumpy dance beats. If you want to get up and twerk some, I will not judge you. The remixer here is named Blind, and although you cannot see me pronouncing it, he spells blind in two-hump camel case with the L and the N capitalized. The block closes out with a different rock song. It's called Metal Mage, and it's from Cyril the Wolf, with some help from Little Wolfie, who is presumably Cyril's young son, and also Ocean's Andrew. It's all out metal for this one, and the enthusiasm of Little Wolfie brings an energy to the track that fits well, since it's a rearrangement of the theme for Palom and Porum, the 5-year-old twin mages who joined the party early on in the game. Time to take off on an airship of tracks. Those songs were remixes from Final Fantasy IV, and they were Fighting for Tomorrow, a remix of Fabul's theme from OA and Nutritious, Golbez and Goblins, a remix of Golbez Clad in Darkness from Blind, and Metal Mage, a remix of Palamon Porum's theme from Cyril the Wolf, Little Wolfie, and OA. It's time for a word from our sponsor.
Howdy folks, it's me again, Choco Bill Perkins, owner of Choco Bill's Chocobo Farm. Now I know y'all can't get enough of our special Chocobo milk, so we've got a great new subscription service just for you. Some other farmers might settle for just delivering that Chocobo milk, but I know discerning folks like you want more, so I'm bringing my Chocobo roosters direct to your house where you can squeeze that milk right out of their cloaca. You can put it in a bucket or put it in a jug or even just put it straight into your mouth. Just give me your address and for $843 gil a month, I'll come right to your door with my Chocobos. There's nothing like fresh Chocobo milk and my delivery service is the best way to get it. Sign up now at chocobill.com and use the promo code Professor Tom for 20% off your first delivery.
Now back to the show. If you haven't played Final Fantasy V, it's the Final Fantasy game built around the job system. Each of the elemental crystals you'll find as you travel the world gives your characters access to a set of jobs, and so the OC remix albums for Final Fantasy V were intended to emulate that concept. Instead of having a single album for the whole game, there's an ongoing project to create a series of albums, one for each crystal, plus a final album to tie everything together. The whole series is called Final Fantasy V, The Fabled Warriors, and each album is numbered and named with its corresponding crystal. Unfortunately, the project has only had 2 of a planned 5 albums released to date, and it may have stalled out. The Wind album was released first in fall of 2010, and the Water album came out in spring of 2016, and there's been no new release in the project since then. And that's understandable because, generally speaking, everyone involved in these projects is a fan, and they're not getting paid. God knows it's taken me a ton of time to put this episode together. The 2 albums we do have are really good, and they each feature songs themed around the jobs granted by each elemental crystal, plus a couple of bonus songs that are themes for individual characters. I'm going to feature 1 song from the Wind album, and then 2 songs from the Water album, and hopefully someday I'll get to revisit this theme and feature songs from the other albums. Starting us off is In the Shadows, Theme of Thief, from the Wind album, and it uses a mixture of string sounds and keyboards to emulate the sly way the thief operates using agility in battle and also stealing items from enemies. Remixer Matthias Hegstrom Get here lives in Sweden, where he works on music software and occasionally contributes to indie game soundtracks. Moving into the Water album songs, we've got one of the character themes. It'll be La Princesa de Tycoon, theme of Lena, which is the theme for Lena, one of the party members and also a princess. Just like the first song in the block, this one uses a lot of electronic keyboard sounds, but it also integrates a mariachi-esque horn section that's an inspired choice. The remixer here is Sixto Sounds, and he sounds like a pretty cool guy. Closing out the block, we've got A Silver Light Shines, theme of Mystic Knight, which is an exotic, mysterious track that's evocative of the way the Mystic Knight class is clad in Middle Eastern garb. Our remixer here is Dark Sword, who's the CEO of OC Remix and a contributor to quite a few OC Remix projects in some way, shape, or form. He is credited as the director for both these Final Fantasy V albums. Ahead on our way, we hear songs now. Those songs were remixes from Final Fantasy V, and they were In the Shadows, a remix of the Thief's theme from Matthias Hegström Gett, La Princesa de Tycoon, a remix of Lena's theme from Sixto Sounds, and A Silver Light Shines, a remix of the Mystic Knights theme from Dark Sword. The last music block takes us to the remix album for my favorite Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy VI. It's the best game in the series, the best game for the Super Nintendo, and probably the best video game ever made. And if you disagree with that, well, everything I just said was completely subjective, so I can't exactly prove you wrong. Life is too short to get into fights about the best Final Fantasy game. I try to save my powder for more important conflicts, like whether Goku could beat Captain Picard in a Gundam duel. The name of this remix album is Final Fantasy VI, Balance and Ruin, and it was released in July of 2013, and I'm going to play 4 songs from this one because, like I said, this is my favorite Final Fantasy game. The first one may be a bit of a divisive choice. It's a remix of Metamorphosis, and it's named There Will Be Blood, and the genre here is basically electronic noise. If you find this one too harsh and you want to skip forward about 3 minutes to get through it, I will understand. The remixer here is named Anti-Sign, and I love how aggressive he got with this song. I don't always want to listen to stuff that sounds like this, but when I do, I want it to sound like this. At the beginning of the episode, I mentioned that the music segments might have some tonal whiplash, and the switch to the second song in this block is the biggest whiplash of the day. The song is called Blackjack's Breakup Bossa, which is a remix of one of the Airship themes. Also, it's a vocal track, and it's a breakup song, and if that's not airshippy, what is? This song is from Callum Bowen, who's done multiple indie game soundtracks, and also there are vocals from Zarnax42. There's another stylistic switch going to the third song, which is named La Montana de los Caballos Jóvenes. That is Spanish for The Mountain of the Young Stallions, or so Google Translate tells me. I don't know much Spanish aside from what I've learned from Mexican restaurant menus and professional wrestling. The style for this track is Spanish guitar with some mariachi elements, and it's a remix of the Mount Colts theme, which is the area where we meet this episode's cover boy Sabin. This remix was brought to us by Expert Novice, whose name you may recognize from the Final Fantasy II block. We're going to close things out with A Glimmer of Hope, which is a cover of Searching for Friends, and it's a very straightforward arrangement of one of the game's most important songs. Joshua Morris is the lead remixer here, with help from Jeff Ball and Laura Intravia, and this remix does a great job of capturing Final Fantasy VI's theme of never giving up, even in the face of utter despair. All 4 of these songs are good train suplexin music, and they start now.
need to make you mine. But one thing I know is that you're happy now. All alone, I shed a babe, it's true. I'll never love someone
Those songs were remixes from Final Fantasy VI, and they were There Will Be Blood, a remix of Metamorphosis from Anti-Sign, Blackjack's Breakup Bossa, a remix of Blackjack from Callum Bowen and Zarnax 42, La Montana de los Caballos Jovenes, a remix of Mount Colts from Expert Novice, and finally, A Glimmer of Hope, a remix of Searching for Friends from Joshua Morse, Jeff Ball, and Laura Intravia. That's the show. If you want to reach me, I'm most active on Blue Sky as shujinacademy.bsky.social. You can also find me on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram as Shujin Academy VGM Club. Episodes of the show are posted to my YouTube channel, which you can find by searching for Shujin Academy VGM Club. Other links are on my linktree at linktr.ee/Shujin Academy. Please leave me a 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you're finding this episode. New episodes are released once or twice a month, depending on how often I get them done, and they premiere on Thursday mornings on your favorite podcatcher and on 8beats.co, the internet's #1 game music radio station. My show is also featured on TerraPlayer, the cool app that's a destination for gaming podcasts and other content, so you can check me out there. Finally, if you just can't get enough of me, I also voice esports reporter Samson Escapades on audio drama podcast How Much in Bison Dollars, which you can find on FGC Radio, Patreon, and most podcatchers. If you're listening on Spotify, please be aware that they've pulled a few of my episodes before. There's a non-zero chance that they'll eventually pull my entire podcast, as they've done with a few other game music podcasts, so I'd strongly suggest you subscribe elsewhere to be sure you can get all the Professor Tom goodness you crave. Special thanks for this episode goes out to all of the various musicians, remixers, and arrangers who worked on all these OC remix albums. The show notes include links for all the featured artists, and it's also got download links for each of the albums we've sampled today. Special thanks also goes out to fellow VGM podcaster Jameson of Bar Silence Podcast for contributing cover art from everyone's favorite Final Fantasy VI moment. You can and should find Bar Silence wherever you download podcasts, and check out his website at barsilence.com. I'm assuming that you enjoyed all these remixes, since you've listened all the way to the end of the show. If you want to hear more arranged game music and you don't feel like waiting around for my next episode, you can check out REVGM, another game music podcast that's devoted exclusively to arranged tracks like what I've played today. Tell host Martyrus that Professor Tom sent you. I've got one more song to play us out, and because it's the end of the show, it's going to be a remix of Finale from Final Fantasy II, from the Final Fantasy II Rebellion album that also started things off today. The remixer here is named Hat, and the track is titled Finally. Thanks for listening. I'm Professor Tom, and I'll see you next time on Shujin Academy VGM Club.